Welcome. Today's the day, and I'm so excited I get to help present this webinar today. It's something I know everybody's been wanting for so long. It's finally here, and yeah, so we get to talk about the online exam process. It's so refreshing. If you're new and you haven't joined us before, I go through about 5 or 6 minutes of some intro slides, and then I'll jump right into today's presentation. And yeah, let's get this thing started. So thanks everyone for attending. It looks like we have a full house again, so fantastic. If you don't know me, my name is Ted Stewart. I am the Program Development and Compliance Manager for exida. I'm actually closing in more like on 15 or 16 years now of experience in the automation area within manufacturing and lean process improvement. Quick history about myself: I started with Lockheed Martin in missiles and fire control. I then shifted over to Harris Corporation. I was the lead manufacturer on 14 different classified products, which was kind of neat. And the reason I say this is because that's when I started learning about the life cycle. And so the life cycle for these products were literally maybe a year or two long. So from development to extinction, end of life, literally that's all it lasted. And so it was extremely fast paced. It was constantly moving, constantly new technology coming out. It was a lot of fun. And then I'd say I've been with exida for 7-8 years now. Time is flying, but I get to do a lot of fun things. I'm responsible for a lot of new program development, whether it's in functional safety for OEMs or end users, cyber, automotive, machinery, robotics, railway, and that's how I got myself even involved with the CFSE program, right? So we're constantly innovative. We're constantly coming up with new things, and it never gets old. There's always something going on. Yeah, we were founded in '99 by some of the world's top reliability experts. And what's kind of neat about this slide, in my opinion, is it seems like every single year a little triangle pops up. And our latest one that we can't yet talk about, it completely takes care of the whole Brexit ordeal and needing a notified body. So that's what's really exciting about that, is that that challenge, right? Because that was one of the later things. They said, look, if you're not a notified body, you can't do work here. Well, that's resolved now, and that's fantastic. So that's our big news that we can't really talk about yet, but yeah, that's completely now in the past. Another really cool thing about exida is that we are a customer focused company. It's kind of really the only company that's able to encompass the complete life cycle of functional safety, of alarm management, and of course cybersecurity, which is the really hot topic that's going on. And that's what really makes us unique. And the other thing is that we are an employee-owned company. So really, the harder I work, the better exida does, the better I do. And it's such a cool concept. And that's just how it started. That's how it was founded. And it just keeps going that way. And, that does help with our growth in the company. I always like this slide only to thank really the people that use the products, because we literally take your feedback so serious that all those comments are considered and either put into the software or put on maybe for the next revision. But it's really incredible how our products really are just driven by the people that use them. And that's kind of how the CFSE program keeps getting enhanced and enhanced, is because we take all those comments. So when you take the CFSE exam, you're always asked to do like a survey. Well, don't just not do that survey, because if that's how we improve this program. So if we don't know what you need, we don't know how to incorporate it. And I mean, this whole online process that we're going to talk about today took literally a little over 2 years to do. It was extremely cumbersome, so much work. However, it couldn't have come at a better time. And yeah, we did pick up our feet a little bit more when we saw some challenging things coming this way. Now with everyone on travel restrictions, I mean, it's all paying off, and it's such an exciting time in that regards of how far technology has gone to allow us to do what we can do. And when I tell you all the different things that are in place for this online exam, it's incredible the technology that's out there. We're a nonstop research place. We hold no secrets. We tell you everything we know, and our concept, our principles, we don't charge you for like attending webinars. We don't charge you for our white papers. We don't charge you for all these blogs and all these other things. Yeah, you pay for some books, but we want the information in your hands as fast as possible. Why? Because we want to do the next thing. We want to work on the next level of safety. We're always thinking, if you haven't heard of eRava yet, I mean, that's another next level of safety. Bringing this exam online so that people without travel budgets can travel. That's another way of thinking that's really, pushing people to do more and more efficiently. I mean, this slide kind of tells it all about the picture of exida. We're here to stay. In 20 short years, we've emerged as a world leader in functional safety certifications. I always say, hey, every day we're going to try and make this pie whole, But, in reality, it's all of our customers. We want to thank you. And if you haven't had the chance, if you know Dr. Goebel or Reiner Faller, who are our founders, if you haven't seen that 3-minute video yet, you got to watch it. It's kind of cool. I mean, yeah, I love it. And I see here already I'm getting questions, so that's awesome. Keep the questions coming. I did check my audio. I know one person said that they lost sound. It's still going well. I got another person that just said the sounds good. So please check your audio. Hopefully you still have it. Let's continue on here. Sorry about that, Greg. So the online process, are you ready? Because it's fun. What I'm going to do, and I broke it out into 2 different pieces. We're going to talk quickly about the personnel certification process. Why? Because I want to use this webinar for all those people that are just getting involved so they can learn the process. And then we're going to dive straight into this online exam process and give you a tutorial. I'm going to go through it and kind of go piece by piece on how it's going to work, how it's going to look, so that you are ready and you're prepared and you're able to go into this without any surprises. And I think that's really important. So the certification process, it consists of 4 main categories. You're going to have the application, you have the preparation, the exam, and of course, you're going to have grading. So we're going to go through each one of them. I'm just kind of briefly touch on each one. If you have questions, of course, we'll answer them. Everybody on this call is going to get an FAQ. So all the questions that are asked, I'll give you the answers to. I think we had close to 50 questions in the first session. So hang in there. It's going to be a pretty long document, but it's going to have some really great information in there. So the first step, like I said, is the exam process. Excuse me. The first step of the exam process is the application form. So what this is this form, it really just asks specifics about like yourself, about what type of exam you're taking, education, professional experience. And once that's completed, what you're going to want to do is you then email to the CFSE administration. The one thing that you want to take away from this slide is make sure you put the CFSE administration on your safe senders list. That's admin@exidacfse.com. You'll get that at the very end of this presentation, the email. Make sure that's on there because there's going to be a lot of emails that they send that gives you very critical information along this process, and you'll see that as I go through here. If you're a retake person, and you did like the paper application and you now want to do online, if you already have your application in, there's no need to do another application. Just simply email the administrators and they'll essentially just create your login information that you're going to now use for this online exam. Okay. The second thing is the case study. What you'll want to do here is if you're taking a CFSE for functional safety or a CACE for cybersecurity, you're going to be required for a case study. Everybody else doesn't need one. What a case study is it's really a description of a product where you demonstrate your skills, you demonstrate your knowledge, and your responsibility for really a significant element of that safety lifecycle or security lifecycle. And you want that case study to be specific on the standard or industry standard that you're taking your exam. As long as you have that, you're good to go. Because those studying or those that are taking that CFSE and CACE, like I said, those are the ones that are they're going to need this type of case study form. When you look at the referee statements, what those are like your colleagues, your peers that cannot be family members, but they're anyone that knows you, previous employer, or maybe an employee at the same company currently. If you're taking a CFSP or a CACS, you're going to need 2 of them. And then if you're taking the CACE or CFSE, you take 4. Okay, here. Before we get all confused with these numbers, just know that you're going to be receiving a welcome email is the first thing that you're going to get, and it's going to tell you everything that you need to know. And it makes it real simple. The next thing is you'll need copies of your identification. Maybe it's like a photo ID, a passport, any kind of registration certifications. Like I said, you'll be notified exactly what you need to give, but just so that you know, these are just some of the things that you should be looking for in your application. And then of course, there's going to be payment. Once you start handing things in, you'll get a username and a password to something called like a certification tracker. And what this tracker system does, it keeps track of your application. And the slide here in front of you, you can see this was Melissa Christmas. She's one of our best administrators for the CFSE program. You can see, she created this template where you can see she finished her code of conduct, but her diploma is still out there. There's no referees, but you can see who the referee names are, right? And then if she's paid or not. And so what's great is you can now go in there and make sure your application is complete. Why do I stress about the application? Well, you can, as long as you pay and you don't have maybe a referees in yet, you can still take this exam even if your application's not done. The kicker is you must have the application done in order to get your exam results. So the application is really important. I had a question earlier that said, well, look, Ted, I don't know when I'm taking this exam. So when can I do my application? Does it expire? No. So if you want, go ahead and do the application anytime. Yet it never expires. The only thing you may have to do is if it's over a year before you take the exam, we'll probably ask for new referee statements, right? We're going to want at least someone relatively around you around the time that you're going to take the exam, right? So that would be the only thing. Other than that, nothing else expires. Go ahead and do it when you have time. So now let's talk about the preparation, because it varies, right? And so we have candidates from around the world that have taken this exam. We've gotten feedback, right? Because everyone's filling out those surveys. So every time an exam's given, we hope that people fill that survey out so we can learn. And one of the things is like around preparation. And what we're learning is that from those that have passed, if you failed, sorry, we kind of disregard things in respect to like the time you studied, because it kind of skews the numbers. But if you pass, that means, hey, that person did enough to pass this and become a leader and expert in our industry. And what we've found after we got those statistics is it's roughly 20 to 30 hours of prep time. Some people take trainings, some people don't take trainings. They're not required. But even if you take a training, we don't count that time. We just count the time of book study time, right? And it was between 20 and 30 hours. And that's just a number, right? Some people never studied at all. Some people studied like 100 hours. So it's hard to put a finger on where they are, but that's just as a reference point is what we've learned is 20 to 30 hours is kind of just what the average came out to. Reference material, look, preparation is everything. My best example, okay, one of my favorite examples, maybe not my best one, is, I always say, have you ever cut down a tree with a dull axe? Maybe you haven't, right? Maybe I haven't either. But here's the thing, the kicker is, if you take the time to sharpen your axe before you cut a tree down, guess what? You can do so much quicker in half the time. It's kind of the same thing when you're thinking about when you're taking an exam. Think if any of you are professional engineers, if you got your PE or whatever in engineering, you get to bring all these reference materials in, right? Tons. You have a wagon behind you. You're pulling this thing into this exam. Yeah, I got everything. I don't know every single question, but you run into a time issue. And that's the kicker with the CFSE program. You might think, oh, I got 4 hours. I have 6 hours. That time flies by. And if you don't prepare, if you don't open that hardcover book, right, and you don't look between those pages and actually learn what a thing is in this book, it's going to take you forever to find the material that you need. So preparation. Know where things are. Bookmark your pages. I don't know why I'm helping you right now, but write that stuff down. It's you'll thank me later. All right. Training, right? That's another great preparation thing. It's completely optional. The only thing I want to say about training is there's some good organizations out there. They teach you the concepts. There's some really bad ones that have the best advertisements though, and everybody takes them, but they're not that good. And then there's some really great training organizations. So all I'm going to tell you is do your homework, because remember, you get what you pay for. You really shouldn't put a price on safety. Take it serious. And that's it. Another thing now actually that you really want to consider is, and I just saw this the other day, some of the really popular trainers out there, no names mentioned, but guess what? They're canceling all of their trainings. There's no online platform for a lot of these trainers now. So you need to now make sure you pick somebody that's going to be here and have every way possible for you to learn what you need to when you want to learn it, not around their schedule. So look for platforms that are now online. Look for things that are doing the right thing every day, and you'll know who you want to pick and go with. But just keep those things in mind. You don't need to wait. There's ways to get what you need right away. There's live online courses. There's recorded online courses. There's everything. Now, we're in the 21st century, so that's really how it kind of should be. The last thing I want to say on preparation, I got to get rolling here because I got a lot to talk about, is a certificate program. A certificate program is really that great benchmark tool. It's a program that provides the analysis of where it really shows you where your strengths and weaknesses lie, right? So what a certificate program is if a training is required. If you have to take that training to take that exam, that's a certificate program, okay? And the certificate program is great because it tells you what you knew and what you didn't know for that training. It's hard when people call you an expert because you took a certificate based on a training. I don't really understand that, but that's not for this presentation. What I'm just trying to tell you is those are fantastic ways to know if you've understood material in a training course, and it's a great kind of gauge to see, okay, well, if I did that really easily, maybe I am ready to take a CFSE, or maybe I am ready to take the cybersecurity exam, which is a CACE, and so it's kind of neat. That would also help you with your preparation. So I hope that was useful. In respect to the exam part, there's many types of exams you can take. The reason for that is we don't want you to think you have to be an expert at everything. If you're an automotive expert, then take the functional safety automotive exam, right? You're still a CFSE. Or if you're in cybersecurity and you're an integrator, make sure you take the integrator cybersecurity exam. Okay, so there's different specialties, so pay attention to that when you're picking your exam so you know exactly which one you need and what you have the best opportunity of passing. We went over the length of time. The exams are either going to be 4 hours or 6 hours, depending on which one you take. And the other thing you want to look at is the number of sessions. When I say number of sessions, I mean, if it's a 6-hour exam, you're going to have 2 sessions. We'll get into the finer details, or you can email me later, but that's essentially you need to make 2 appointments because you're basically essentially taking 2 different exams in the same day. It's broken up into 2 sections. That way it'll allow you a break in between because nobody should sit for 6 hours, right? 4 hours we can manage. All right, but 6 hours is when you really are pushing yourself a little bit too much, and so that's why it's 2 parts. But more than likely, it's a 1-session exam. If for the chance you take a CFSE, which is 6 hours, you'll have a 2-session exam. Question type, we all know this already, but if you don't, it's either going to be multiple choice, short answer, or case study. A quick thing to know, if it's a cybersecurity exam right now, currently, it's all multiple choice. So that's just something to know. And passing score, of course, you're going to need an 80% to pass no matter what the exam type is. The last phase of the process, and then we'll jump straight into the platform for today, is make sure when you take that exam, I know I'm stressing this, you need to have the application complete. If you sat where I sat and you got to see some of the stuff, it's crazy. People would be having a passing grade and they'd want the results, but yet they haven't asked people to give them referees, and they'll sit for 6 months and their exam's done. So do yourself a favor, get your application done early, get it completed. And then so when grading comes, let us do our part. Right now, the length of time to grade is 8 weeks. Yes, that's a long time, but keep in mind, per 17024, we have to have 2 independent graders. They can be anywhere around the world. They can't know anything about the candidate. The graders can't be the ones that trained you. They can't be the proctor. There's so many restrictions, so we have to make sure we do it correctly. And once an exam goes out for grading, we wait, it comes back, it then goes to a different person, it gets graded, and then it comes back. Then if there's discrepancies, that gets dealt with, and then, oh, by the way, there could be a 3rd grader that also grades it. So there's a lot going on, but do know that now that we're moving online, we're not going to still let it be automatic. We're still going to have that manual touch. Why? Because our exams are unique, because you can interpret a question one way and it might be wrong on the answer key, but because you knew what you were doing, you explained it correctly, you either get partial credit or full credit depending on what your analysis said. So it's unique in that sense. So we don't think an automatic grading is possible. We need to have that human touch to make sure we give you the best opportunity of passing and that we know that you know what you're doing. Make sense? Cool. At a previous webinar, what I actually demonstrated why we chose these 2 platforms. Yes, we needed 2 platforms. With what we're trying to accomplish, we couldn't do it with just one, so we chose 2. Gauge is by test.com. They're the ones that are going to own your exam. They hold it. They're our database, let's call them. They are going to do all our psychometrics, which is the analyzing of all the different questions to determine what's a good question, what's a bad question, what's too easy, what's too hard, right? And then ProctorU is that live proctoring system, and we're going to go and explain what that means. ProctorU, a great thing for them, they're also 17024, right? They follow the same principles that we follow, so they hold the same level of rigor that we do. If you want to know some of the things that went into this exam process, here's just, you can read this later, you can pause it, but essentially, there were so many factors that we had to consider that it made things very hard for us to choose a platform. Things like, we wanted to make sure it captured your photo. We wanted facial recognition. We wanted keystroke analysis, right? We wanted to learn how you type so that if it ever changed throughout the exam, we knew, hey, that might be somebody else, right? So there's so many little things that we worried about because security and safety was our number one, and we wanted to make sure that these exams were fair and nobody was cheating. I know that sounds crazy, but we wanted to remove the risk before we had to get into that situation. So that's why we now have artificial intelligence capabilities. We have location tracking. We have live exam session viewing. So you will have a live proctor with you just through the computer now that will be monitoring your actions, your movements. Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm getting nervous already. No, but it's just so that we can protect you who's doing it the right way against someone that wants to just get by, okay? So now let's talk about what you all want. Here's the online exam process. This is what you're going to experience. So ask your questions at the end. I'm going to not fly through this, but I'm going to go through the best of my ability so that you can understand what you're going to see when you go through this new online process, okay? First thing is, you're going to fill out the application like we talked about. After you fill out, you submit to the CFSE administrator. Make sure you put them on that safe senders list. Remember that. admin@exidacfse.com. Now, we'll send that to you. You don't have to remember it, but I just like to stress it. Now, this welcome letter is going to have some great information in it. You're actually going to get two different emails. One's going to say, hey, congratulations. You're now qualified to take this exam. You will have a second email from us, yada, 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 with your test information. Then you'll get another email that's going to talk to you about test.com, which was that Gauge platform. They'll give you a username and a password, so now you can log in and gain access to your exam, okay? You'll also get instructions on ProctorU, which will allow you then to sign up for your exam whenever you want to take it. There's no more of this flying around the world just to take an exam that might get canceled. I know we've all been there. It's been frustrating. Now, we still will offer in-classroom exams in the future, but right now, with the travel restrictions that there are, nobody can leave their house. You don't have to go to a testing facility anymore. You can take this exam at the comfort of your own home, all right? In front of you is a document that will actually give you step-by-step directions on how you can sign up for your exam, and all the different capabilities, making sure that your computer works correctly. And don't worry, our administration will send you a second email that will send you a link for this on how it works and what to expect, so you can read through it if you want to be proactive, okay? Now, when you create this account within ProctorU, because that's what you're going to need to do when you want to schedule your exam, what you'll notice is that you're going to have the ability throughout the entire process with this proctor. It's going to be live chat. It's 24/7. There's real people. You're not talking to a computer. We didn't want that. What you'll want to do right away, though, is when you're looking to schedule your exam, go in there and test your equipment. There's nothing more frustrating than you trying to take an exam and then saying, oh, by the way, you don't have a working microphone, your webcam doesn't work correctly, or your computer's too slow. Now, yes, it doesn't take a whole lot of technology to run this platform. However, just do it. Do it ahead of time. I personally say do it before you book your exam, because let's just say you book it and in 3 days you want to take that exam. What if you can't get your computer working until the very end day, or even if you can get it working? So make sure you test your equipment, get it working nicely, and then schedule your exam. Remember, what we want you to do is book your exam. You say, oh, can I book it anytime? Yes, with an asterisk, right? We want 72 hours of advance notice, okay? 72 hours is all we need. You need to pay for it ahead of time, your exam, but you can book your exam 72 hours in advance. If you want to take it right now, like I want to go and sign up right now, you can. You're just going to pay a little bit extra. I think it's pretty nominal. I put some numbers down there that I thought they were. You can see like $5 for within 72 hours. That's the late registration, and then $8.75 if you want to take it right away, right? In US dollars. And I think that's all it is. Don't take my word for it, but just know I think it's pretty nominal. You can take the exam anytime you want. Not a big deal. Please, please, please remember, like I said, check your equipment. Things that I want you to consider is make sure wherever you're taking your exam, you have a strong internet connection. There can't be anything more frustrating than losing, timing out, and then losing your exam. If you got kids at home, make sure they're not on Netflix. You know, make sure that people aren't using all that IP. If they're playing games, just for that exam, make sure you get full access to your internet. So many people are online now that these bandwidth, they're losing connection more often. They're not getting as much power because everybody's using it. No, I'm not an IT person. If I said something incorrectly, you know, my bad, but that's what's going on. Make sure you have a working webcam, you have a working microphone, because you're going to need to see and talk to your proctor through your computer. Other things I want to be critical of is make sure when you're taking the exam, take it serious. Be in a private, quiet, well-lit room, and make sure you don't have anyone running in and out of the rooms, because as you'll hear later, that can actually hurt your exam results. Okay, so you complete with the system check. You got through it. You figured out when you want to take your exam. You can see here, I mean, you literally can take an exam every 15 minutes, right? I just say do it 72 hours in advance, and you don't have to worry about anything else. All right. Once you sign up for your exam, at your home screen of ProctorU, it will essentially, first it'll say you need to schedule an exam. And then once you schedule one, that goes away, and then you get a countdown. So then it will count down and remind you when your exam is due, which is actually a really nice feature. Okay, so let's pretend you signed up for your exam, you're ready to take it. Guess what? Exam day is here. You know, you're excited, you're nervous, you don't know how you feel, you're crossing your fingers, you're crossing your toes. You know, CFSE is giving you like high fives, hoping you have like the best luck ever. So it's exam day, you sign into ProctorU, the countdown all of a sudden goes to 0. What you'll see next is a start link. It changes into a start button, which is kind of neat. You say, okay, it says start, I'm ready to go. You click start, and what that does, it takes you to a proctoring room where you then will follow these little prompts. It'll guide you through this expedited start process, and you'll have to go through some security capability purposes, and they'll ask you some information, right? What you'll probably see is they'll confirm your name of the exam. They'll ask you if you understand the exam rules. If you say no at any time, like you see in front of you, you hit that no button, it doesn't just dismiss everything. You go to a live chat and they say, hey, why'd you say no? What's going on? But you do have to say yes to actually take the exam. So you will eventually having to say yes if you want to take it. The other thing you're going to have to agree to eventually, you can say no and you'll go to a prompt where they'll talk to you, hey, what's going on? Do you not understand what we're asking you? We need you to approve that we can record you. And why is that? Is because we want to make sure we look at the recording just in case somebody were to say, hey, so-and-so is cheating, or the person left the room for 15 minutes. We don't know why. Everything is going to get recorded. I mean, it's cool, and I can see how some people would get nervous about it, but look, it's no different than you sitting inside of a classroom and having a proctor watch you, right? You're being monitored. This case where it's being recorded. Okay, so you're in there, you say yes, great. So now what's going to happen is you now approve the recording and you'll be connected with the proctor. You can now say hi, you have a chat bar, right? There's this little plugin that you download. It's like an applet, right? You download that, that allows you now to talk to the proctor. The proctor is able to get access to your computer, right? Because there's some security checks that I'll talk about. You'll do it before and then right before you do it before your exam and right when you're about to take the exam, but in two different places. They're going to ask for your ID, your government ID, whether it's a driver's license or a passport. They'll do facial recognition where they'll take a picture of your photo, right? And then that way that shows that it's also you. You'll then take an authentication quiz, which is those like publicly available record questions, like, hey, at apartment number blah 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 on 6th Avenue, what was your apartment number? And then, you know, and things like that. Like, hey, have you ever lived at 1112 Main Street? And things like that. And you can say yes, no, or, you know, and it's just public information. That's just another way that we're checking to make sure it's truly you and you're not just using somebody else's identification, right? So there's a lot of cool little checks that we do along the way. The other really neat thing is now when we secure your physical testing area, we actually have you pan with your camera a 360-degree view up and down, left and right, all the way around, and we want to see your environment. The proctor is going to ask you to do that. If your camera is built inside that laptop, you then have to take your laptop and literally physically move your laptop in a 360-degree view. What they'll also ask you to do, so this is something else to note, is that you might have to be asked to have some type of reflective surface, like a mirror, because they're going to want to say, okay, show me your computer physically, right? Because we want to see if there's post-it notes all around the edges and things of that nature. That also has to get looked at. Another thing when they're securing the room is they'll actually ask for permission to control your computer. They'll then look around. They'll have their artificial intelligence also looking for programs running in the background. They'll look for extra monitors. If there's anything that's open that's not allowed, they ask you to personally close. If you don't close it, you don't take the exam. All right, so let's say, hey, all that stuff worked great. It's awesome. You guys are ready. The proctor will say, okay, great. You've passed everything. Now let's sign into your exam. Will you please take me to your exam? So you say, yeah, no problem. I remember that second email that our administration sent me. It was a welcome email and the second email. The second email was the one that had all my test information with Gage, right? That's where my exam's located. If you don't know it, don't worry. We can help you, right? You're gonna have a proctor the whole time. They even know the process as well. They're already been certified and trained for us. Okay. So anyways, you go to the place, you sign in, you fill in your information. You then go to step number 2 on your screen, and that's when more than likely if you're taking the CFSE, you'll see 2 of them, right? It's basically 2 different exams that you have to take in the same day. One's short answer and case study, then one's multiple choice. But if you're taking a CFSP or even any cyber exam, cybersecurity, you're only gonna have one exam available. You click on it, it brings you down here, and then this is when your proctor will say, okay, please let me have access. Well, first off, before you give me access, student, do you need to use the restroom? Do you need to use the facilities? Do you need the bathroom, the washroom, whatever you may call it? You need to do something before you take this exam because we don't want you getting up when the exam starts. So that's when you go, you take care of business, and you come back. Okay, you're ready. Fantastic. You're ready to sit there and do this exam. Don't take chances during the middle of the exam to use the restroom and come back because we don't know where you go. So why create that situation? If it happens, it happens, right? We have to work through that. We'll have to go through the recording, do the whole thing. If anything, talk to your proctor. The most important thing you can do is let the proctor know what you're doing and why you're doing it. That way, just in case, you have yourself covered in a sense, right? All right, anyways. It's just things that I think about, right? I could see this happening, so I'm trying to help you ahead of time. So they fill in the password, like I said here. Great, you start your exam. You go here, you get one more chance before you stop, right? Before you hit this start the exam button. But what's nice is you look here, they verify with you. They say, hey, is this actually the exam you're taking? Great. You have 240 minutes. It's a 20-question exam. Obviously, it's oh yeah, it's going to be a lot more than this, but hey, look, so here's your exam, and then you hit start the exam process, and now we're going, right? We're starting the exam. Woohoo! We're all excited. Do know that during this exam, your proctor will be monitoring your video feed. They'll be watching the environment. They'll be making sure no one's running in and out of the room. If there's noise in the background, they're going to be watching everything. And then, of course, we have the artificial intelligence that watches behind everything. If there is suspicious activity and it's suspected, proctor you or your proctor will immediately engage with you and tell you, hey, put your face back in where the camera so we can see you, or hey, you have a lot of noise in the background. Will you please get that to stop? They'll talk to you. If it progresses and it does not end, or if they feel as though you're taking advantage of a system, your exam will immediately terminate and you will be done, finished. Another thing that could happen is if they see you opening programs, right? You open, or maybe you might even hit that print screen button. Oh, I just want it for my notes. Terminated. If you cheat in any way, shape, or form, you're done. and that's not to scare you, but that's just to let you know and reassure you that, look, we're holding a very high bar. We've always done so. We're going to continue to do so. And we want to give you the heads up right now before anyone wants to get creative. Right? So just talk to your proctor. Everything will be fine. There's nothing for you to worry about. Obviously, just, yeah. If you have a question, ask. That's what they're there for. They're going to help you out. You can chat before the exam, during the exam, and even after you finish the exam, you still have people that you can chat with. They're going to be there for you, no matter what time of day it is. They're a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week proctoring system. What you're going to see during the exam now, and and it's all going to depend on your exam type. But you can see at the very top of your screen which exam you're taking, how much time you have left, how many questions you've already answered. And then next screen, I'll show you about what the instructions are, but these are extremely important. And then you'll have questions on each page. You'll probably have 5 questions per page. The instructions are so important, and I can't stress this enough. There are going to be times You may take an exam where you do not need to answer every single question. You only need a certain amount of points. You can see this instruction here in front of you, multiple choice. Yeah, answer everything, it's 1 point. But look at the short answer. There are more than 20 points of the questions provided in the short answer section. You're only required to answer 20 total points, right? So make sure you don't have to answer all. If you do, we grade you off the total amount of points that you've answered, but you're graded off of a minimum of 20. What do I mean? Answer the best 20 points that you can. Don't try and show off and answer every question. It's not going to do you any good. It's not going to do any favors. It's going to actually hurt against you if you miss anything. Then you're going to say, well, how do I know if I've gotten 20 points worth of questions? It's a great question, because what you're going to see is you're going to see something that looks like this, and this is called the bookmark area. I'll show you how to get there in 1 second, but just remember this screen. A bookmark area is where it'll show you every single question. It'll show you if you've answered the question, what type of question it was, and if you've marked it as a bookmark. If you mark a question as a bookmark, you can go here and you'll see that bookmark section will have a check mark there. You click on it and it'll bring you directly to that question so you can review it. During this exam, remember, you can go forwards, you can go backwards. Let me just go here and you can see what it looks like. Here's your questions. I grade them out, right? No cheating. But you can see question 1, do you want to bookmark this question? If you click it, all of a sudden over here, question 1 will be bookmarked and there'll be a logo or a symbol here, right? Same thing with question 2. If you ever want to get to the screen, at the bottom of every page, you just open bookmarks and you go right here. It's so nice. It's convenient. When you're ready, because there's going to be 5 questions per exam, you hit submit, and once you hit submit, 1 second. Once you hit submit forward, you can go to the next one and it saves all of your questions. You can always go back. Now, you're not submitting like the entire exam. You're just saving for that 1 page and you're going. So you can go forwards, you can go backwards, you can do anything you want. You can skip questions. If you skip questions, there's another function that says jump back, and you can go to all the unanswered questions. But in reality, I think your bookmark is the best way to keep track of your exam. Another great thing on bookmark, just so you know, is if it says, hey, you can only answer 20 points. Well, look, every single question will have a point value. So you just add up the point. You go to your answered questions, you add up how many points it is. Great, you got 20, you're done. If you answer more than that, go back and maybe unanswer one. You can deselect and not have to answer a question. You can leave it unmarked, right? When you have an exam that you don't have to answer every question, do notice that this is going to be normal for you. It'll say finish with 3 unanswered questions. It's because you didn't have to answer all of them. What you can do to double check, go back, cancel, return, go to your bookmark, right? And add up your points. Okay, no, I'm good. 3 questions because there was 3 extra questions I didn't need. I'm great. Once you submit this button, you're done. You can't change your answers. Until this point, you can always change your answers, go back to anything you want, take all the time in the world that you need. When you complete it, you'll get a sign. You'll get this. Hey, good job, which is important. You want to see that you finish. And what happens immediately is once you finish, that exam gets sent directly to the administration. When it goes to the administration, they'll immediately start processing it. All right. You'll get an email. Once again, make sure they're on their safe senders list at admin@exida.cfsc.com. You'll get this email and it'll say, hey, I just want to let you know we've received it. Great job. We hope you pass, yada, 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 right? But it then goes immediately to the first grader, which then goes to the second grader, which then is, if your application is complete, you get a 4th email, either thumbs up or thumbs down, right? And that's the exam process. I know I have a ton of questions. One other thing I do want to mention is that preparation. There's a lot of reference material out there. There's a lot of trainings that are online, open enrollment. People are still, this morning I just did another, I helped with a private corporate training. We did all virtual, right? It's awesome. The technology is there. There's no reason you need to wait. There's no reason you need to get stir crazy. You can do everything that you were doing, but just do it online. You can always go back to this. This will be a recording webinar, but you can see all the online live streaming with a live instructor. If you'd rather something on a recorded platform, that's also available. These are showing up more and more and more. All right. So let's go ahead and answer some questions. And thanks a lot, everybody. I really appreciate. We have some great attendance here. Okay. Okay, what if we go for more than 20 points? So what happens is, let's just say it says, hey, you had 20 points in this exam, and you answer 22 points. What happens there is you will be graded from 22 points. We don't just pick 20 points. We'll grade you with what you've answered. So if it's 22, then all of a sudden you're blank out of 22 points. That's why I say try not to do that. Just pick your 20 best points, and that'll give you your best opportunity. If you answer less than 20, you're still out of 20, right? There is a minimum. If you answer 2 points, don't expect to be graded 2 out of 2. So I hope that answered your question. Another question I have: will there be an increase in cost now that we can do it online? No. We wanted to keep it simple. There is the costs are always going to be the same. We left it there. So whatever it was on the website, it's continuing to be there. Do not worry about it. What about a testing facility? How do we take this online exam? The testing facility, you can take it from the own home. There is none. You don't have to. If you feel more comfortable going somewhere and taking the exam in a secure location, you may. But the purpose of online exam is that you can take this anywhere. You can be in your PJs and it won't be counted against you, right? You don't even need to have a fancy top on. You can be straight up in your PJs. So don't worry about it. Be professional. Have a secure location. Don't have anyone running through that room. Minimize all distractions. That's the key thing. We want your competency. We don't care about anything else. So that's why we made it that way. Another question: do we get extra credit if we answer more questions? No, you get graded off of what you answer. But that's funny because people do think that. They think, hey, you know what? I know all 30 points. I may as well answer all 30 just to show them I know what I'm doing. Don't do it. Just answer 20. I promise you, you'll be way better off. We don't give extra credit to people that do more just because they want to. Okay. Let's see here. What printed materials are you allowed to take into the exam, and when will these exams be available? Well, I know today the process exam for CFSE and CFSP is ready. You'd have to contact the administration for all the other specialties. I know they're all rolling out extremely soon. That's why we want to get this webinar done ahead of everything so everyone's prepared and ready for it. But just contact the administration at the bottom of this email here, or you can see the email in front of you. Contact them and they'll let you know. But as far as the printed materials, it's the same as it was before. You're allowed like 3 or 4 pieces of paper. But I think there's a list of all approved reference material. I'll put that in my Q&A, Greg, and I'll make sure that gets sent out to everybody so that you know what you're allowed when you have this exam. Okay, a couple of thank yous. You're welcome. The online exam, is it the same as the on-site exam? Yes, it will be. It's the same exact exam. It's the same exact database. You just don't have to go anywhere, spend any money, and travel. So no, it's the same exact exam, just done online with an online proctor. What if I need to use the restroom? Kind of like I mentioned before, the proctor will strongly encourage you to do so before you start that exam. If for whatever reason something happens, because hey, guess what? It will happen. Nature will call. Tell the proctor, look, I'll be back in 15 seconds. I'll be super fast. Just let them know what you're doing. Don't just disappear from the exam because you will get dinged. Even when you do leave and you tell them, that will be flagged and it will be it won't count against you, but that video will have to be reviewed to make sure that there is no suspicious activity, right? But yeah, don't hurt yourself, and not if you have to, but just prepare for yourself, right? Just remove those unnecessary things if you can. What's the time limit for part 1 and part 2? It's a 6-hour exam. It's broken up into 2 sections. One's 2 hours and one's 4 hours. I believe your short answer in case study is 4 hours. Your multiple choice is 2 hours, and that's for the CFSE exam. All that information is on the website, and it's also going to be in your welcome letter. So make sure you pay attention to that welcome letter. Hey, Greg, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. I just want to wish everybody the best of luck. Go out there, have some fun with them. Be safe, be healthy. I hope this was able to help you. I know it seems to be the right path. Good luck. Stay safe. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks so much for spending some time with me. Take care for now. Bye-bye.